Hi guys, and welcome to JoyRide. We're having a few little technical bugs here, but it's all good.
It is all good. It's par for the course.
We just got off an awesome girls' weekend. We had a shiny Eric JoyRide Emma weekend in New Braunfels.
Extravaganza.
So I'm in such a zen mode.
Oh man, like, my heart runneth over.
It does. So welcome if you are joining us live on Facebook. We have another really fun show today. It's one of the things that just really lights us up.
Oh man, it does. And this JoyRide has, it has just brought so many people into our lives.
Yeah.
And what's really fun is we're starting to connect. I mean, everybody else starts to connect. So not just us or us with you. Our friends now are starting to find each other. And it is, that brings me such joy.
Well, and that's the whole premise for our JoyRide show is we want you to know you're not alone. If you're spiritually curious, there are so many people out there that are waking up that are on this path with us. It may look a little different. They may be into different things, but we've had so much fun connecting our group. So find your tribe wherever you are. Get your girls together, or guys.
Guys and girls.
And
Metaphysical
dads.
Spend
some time. It's so fun to go out and to be able to just talk about past lives or seeing spirit or what your guide said, and just everybody goes, yeah, that's cool. And what was your experience?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so our guest, so I'm so excited because this is an example of this. So we had Allison Coe on. She was show number 52, and we had it was about the shift and the new earth and all of this information that actually is coming through, and so many people feel this. So many people feel this groundswell that something's starting to shift and move around. And so we did that show, and one of Allison's
clients,
reached out to us, and now we've all become friends, and we have them now on the show. So
so we would like to welcome to the JoyRide show. We have Gina and Michael Kerr. Welcome to JoyRide.
Hi guys.
Hey guys. Hi. Thanks for having us.
You guys are tuning in from Portland, and so on Facebook Live, you guys are not able to see them, but when we get to the YouTube video, we're going to be adding their video feed onto it, so that you'll be able to see these beautiful couple.
Yes, and you'll see what we see, so it's really wonderful.
But I'm going to back up for a second. Okay, for those that don't know, QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, Allison Coe is a practitioner. She lives in Portland, where you are, Michael, and she's it's a technique of taking you, first you do a whole questionnaire, and you kind of talk, you see what are you struggling with, what are your spiritual questions, what would you like to know, and then she puts you under hypnosis and asks your higher self all of these questions. So you're getting your information straight from your source.
It's you to you.
You can visit some past lives that were significant to your soul's journey, but you can really ask questions of, why am I here? What's the pattern here? What am I here to learn? And what's going on in the world with this shift? And so when we did that show and Allison reported, she said she'd heard it from a number of people, but she heard all about the shift and the things, the energies that were changing. You came forward as one of the clients who that had come through in your personal sessions with her.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, it was amazing.
So
she's very good.
She is incredible.
She is. So we'd love to hear your journey, and Gina, your whole journey of how you got here and what information is coming through and how it's changed your lives.
Well, and not just that. It is so you reached out to us, and oh my gosh, it was instant. I mean, I instantly recognized you, and you know, our heart said, "Hey, how's it going this lifetime?" And it is, but it's your story too. It's how you two met, and how I just think there's so much here, and I couldn't wait to get you guys on the show. So can we back up first and kind of tell us who you are?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
If it's just a couple, 3 minutes or something like that.
We've got an hour. Take your time.
Yes, it'll flow.
Yeah, I've never crammed the whole story into 3 minutes, but
you don't have to do 3 minutes.
Well, we came from the Christian background, Christian heritage, and where I had worked in the church and music for decades, but I always had a deep connection to spirit. And over the course of the last a few years, about 2008, I was beginning to hear things that didn't jive with our Christian theology at the time. And so I've been, again, asking for larger answers to questions that I had. And not being able to find those answers with, the Christian leadership and the Bible as I knew it at the time, I began to hear the source, God, Holy Spirit, as I knew it at the time, say, hey, you could actually just listen to me, and I'll give you these answers. And if you're able to put aside all the things you've already thought you knew, then we'll definitely lead you. We'll take you by the hand and we'll lead you there. And it was shortly after that I had met Gina there at the church and went through some difficult times of being released from the church and our friends and all of our social groups, and walking kind of alone for a few years before we realized that, we were letting go and shedding the whole entire belief system that we knew up to that point.
Wow. Big life
So
changes.
it was crazy. It was crazy. We didn't know what had happened to it at all.
No.
We didn't know that it had happened to anybody else on Earth at the time. And so we began taking notes of all the things that we had heard, long journals, and what it really was something much like akin to conversations with God, where this person began to take all this channeling and kind of rewrite this whole set of beliefs around it. And then we began to find, there's others out there. There's a greater context.
We're not alone.
Yay!
Yeah, that was huge. That was huge for us because during those periods of hard, difficult times, and then it was just the two of us.
Right.
And for some reason, too, which is very interesting, we had a lot of kind of different feelings in our bodies. So, like, we would feel this churning within our stomachs, and our heart would be on fire. And we're, like, trying to type this stuff online, and there's nothing. It's just like, go to the hospital, And then
Drug it.
we couldn't find anything, that was referring to the spiritual experience that we were having. And so we were really kind of forced almost, in a sense, to just let it be the two of us.
Right.
And even though it was the two of us, we found ourselves walking these individual paths, but just so parallel, and everything was just so much the same, and there was no explanation, and as to why it was like that. So
the first thing that kind of came up was the twin flame, the twin flame idea, because it was just so instant and such a deep, profound connection, more than we had ever experienced or actually ever witnessed in any other couple. We realized it wasn't this romantic, beautiful thing. It was some amazing, profound spiritual connection with somebody that we didn't even know could exist. Until somebody said, have you ever heard of twin flames? And then we began to look at that on the internet and found a few things. It was pretty sparse back in 2008, 2009. But as we really walked the path, we realized that's exactly what was going on. That it had sparked our own spiritual awakening.
Well, did that scare you? I mean, I know that I ran from these things for a long time.
Look at
did.
He's like, it scared me.
So how did you, I mean,
that
how
intense love, yeah.
Well, but even before that, starting to wake up, because it's your entire framework that you've lived. I mean, you don't work at the church. I mean, I didn't work at the church. Kind of didn't go to church. I mean, we went every, like Christmas, that type of thing. And it was hard for me to let go of that. So for you to be in it and to turn your entire world upside down, I mean, that took a lot of courage.
Terrifying is a better word for it.
Well, yeah.
Because, that was actually literally my good portion of actually was my livelihood at the time. So it was Christian music and all of that. And so leaving that, and I had actually heard these things from the Holy Spirit, as I knew at the time that if I'd be willing to walk this path, there's a possibility it might turn upside down the life that I had lived up to that point, and literally lost my family or the connections with my family that I had at the time in that marriage. Everything was kind of shed and lost as I had seen it. But as Gina and I looked back, that they were the things that kind of held us in that spot. And although things are never really lost in the spirit world, they're just given in a new and fresh way, and with even more freedom. You know, we just get richer and richer and richer, more and more blessed.
So you just you let go, and you completely handed it over, and that. So how long was that between sort of this? Wow, there may be more to this. To okay, I embrace this, and here's this person that I'm journeying with. How long was that?
Story.
Yeah.
The beginning, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So maybe to give a little bit more of a context and like.
Okay? Is this okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
How the whole thing happened. Me, just like Michael, I've always had this profound connection to God and just this really deep desire to know who and what God was. And, you know, I had some experiences as a child, and then I had actually married this man that I grew up with through my teenage years, with him and his family. And, you know, he was really struggling and just with life period. And I was 23 at the time. And I was really questioning. I was just questioning everything. And I said, you know, I need to get back into, at the time, what I thought was church, you know, God. And, like, I need to know who and what God is, because there are no answers anywhere else. And so I get to this church, and I walk in, and I recognize there was a lot of love there in this place. And I was really captured by the Spirit by hearing this music, which Michael was playing. And he was the worship director there. And it just brought me instantly to God. And so I followed that connection to God, and what happened was, over time, you know, I was really spending a lot of just personal time in prayer and meditation, what I call it now. And I had started to reach out a little bit more to Michael and his life at the time, because I was going through a really rough time. And we discovered that when we got together to pray, even about these difficult things, there was something that was happening. We didn't know. I didn't associate it with him.
It wasn't romantic.
He didn't associate it with me. It was like, you know, from our Christian perspective and language, it was like, wow, God's really doing something here.
Right.
Like, what is this? And so there was one particular time where it just felt like life was crashing down. And I went over to their house, and we prayed, and it was...
I couldn't get a breath, so just crying and crying and crying.
Wow.
Yeah, the three of us were there in the room, and it was like we could just feel this unconditional love, like just pouring through the room, and
Right.
our spirit is like churning. I do this because it feels like that. So shortly after that, you're like, no, there's something about this. We need to get together to pray more. And like, what's God doing here in this church community? And so we started this prayer group, and we were kind of the only ones that ended up going to it, because they're like, no, we're not all feeling all this.
Yeah.
Pretty intense for most
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Do you want to tell this part?
Well, yeah. It was just a time when, you know, nobody else really related, but we really felt all these supernatural feelings. And so as we kind of did this, there was there was a Nicaragua trip that came up for mission, and they had called intercessors to this, on this group, and somehow we without really planning it out. I ended up both going with a group of other people as well. But that wrecked us. That was the final straw of my cultural Christian belief system. At that point, it was all over, because here was beautiful, loving people in Nicaragua who had absolutely nothing. And as as Americans, we're going to come down and help these poor souls out of our pity and our,
benevolence,
our great American.
Well, even out of like, we need to show them love, and that, like, we're thinking that they don't know that.
Right. But it was the opposite.
But
they showed you love. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just hearing all these downloads, and we just would stay up at night until midnight and cry and pray, and then get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and cry and pray some more. All the while we're going to this dump where there's all these really amazing, beautiful, poor people who loved us. And so as we came back, I'm on fire at this point. I'm ready to tell the church this is what it's all about. It's not about the church. It's about love. Da 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 da. Can't wait to tell everybody. And then we get back and got hit with this complete resistance to any of that, and a demand to quit being in touch.
For Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't married. It's just that it seemed inappropriate to them, and so anyway, as it went on, we just couldn't. There was no other place that would allow us to feel that and to be able to pray through that. Nobody else kind of understood what had taken place, and so it just, over the course of time, I just couldn't do it any longer. So they asked me to leave the church, asked Gina to leave the church, even though my family was still going there. And those were difficult times, really painful, because it was all my friends and my social group. But I realized there was just this burning inside sensation that just was our heart speaking to us. And so it was an even exchange as far as how I was concerned. It was still, I had to do it. Wow. And so as we walked that journey, it was like another year and a half before I was still living in my home, and so there was a long time before we actually came to where we found that we needed to be together, that this is a journey, and this is the person we're in a journey with. Because we had made a vow that we wouldn't fall in love, that this wouldn't be something that took over us. As time went on, I was asked to leave my home, and it became apparent this was the journey that we were going to walk.
That's awesome. We just lost video, so we're reconnecting with you there. I'm going to take a second. Lovely story. I'm going to take a second to say hi to our friends on Facebook while we reconnect the video.
Okay.
So we're saying hi to Sarah, and they're dropping Emma off at the airport. We're saying hi to Carrie and
Emma.
Kathleen and Donna. What a great weekend. Shelley, hi guys. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us live on Facebook to listen to this amazing story of transformation, and really the courage to just follow what your heart is just not letting you ignore. And stepping out of an old paradigm into something completely unknown, and being told you need to leave now. You cannot, this is not appropriate here. And you're like, but it feels so real to me. It's so true. And it feels like love. How do you, it's like that decision to reconcile that.
Yeah, even through that time, we still were not associating it with the other person. So we just had this burning within our hearts that was like, you've got to pray, you've got to pray. It's all about one-on-one relationships, and the most important is that one with Source. And so we just pursued that like there was no tomorrow. I mean, it wrecked everything. And from our old perspective, it was, well, if you're really following God, then it wouldn't break up these families, or it wouldn't break up these things, or it wouldn't cause these problems, And it was like, wow, well, there's no way to deny this. Of course we don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want anyone to suffer. And we really tried our best. We really did to, allow the others to come with us. But again, it's just a personal decision that has to be made.
Yeah.
we had to let go of so much, and we were shown, you know, we both lost all of our friends. We both lost our previous families. You know, even some of our family that had raised us wouldn't speak to us for a while, and it was very painful. And within that pain, we were still able to connect to this place within ourselves that was saying, you are loved, you are cherished, you are the person you've been waiting for, and like, we're here, like the universe saying, we're here to support you, and it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay.
Takes so much courage to grow like that, because you make all these decisions as one person, and you connect into groups and relationships as one person. Then as you grow in this new information, I just honor your decision to grow and go with it, because that's a huge thing. A lot of people, I feel, stay stuck because we've made all these decisions and commitments, and you don't want to rock the boat. And you guys just said, we can't not rock the boat here. We got to go with it.
Well, and I think that it's one of those things that kind of leading us into the next phase. That's a 3D paradigm, and I mean, and it's one that I respect, and I, you know, I take so to heart my family and the structure that I've created. But you've risen above the 3D and said, okay, I'm not going to do this just because the earth law tells me that this is what we have to do. And this is, I mean, I feel like they were taking you from here and saying, okay, no more, you need to go directly up. And by the way, we're, you know, this other, you will be right alongside. You won't be alone. And if you choose this is what, you know, then you get to be with this person. And it's not to the exclusion or pain, like you said. And that is a real mixed bag. I mean, that I know some people, that is tough, but you did it. And that is
so how is it
amazing.
How is it fallen now? Because now you guys are married. I know you have children. How's the family now? How's it all working out for you? Yeah.
Well, the thing that we realized is that, you know, people think a lot of times the twin flame relationship is this beautiful, cozy relationship.
No issues, no drama.
It's just pure bliss.
They're both going, no.
Not so much.
At first it was, wow.
For a year and a half, it was unbelievable.
It was. I mean, when we first realized, we went through a year, a little longer as friends. You know, we were having the same dreams. Michael would have a dream, I would have a dream at night, and he'd be up all night writing, and then we'd get together the next morning or the next time, and it would be the same exact thing.
Whoa.
And it was, what is that about, you know?
Over and over.
Or going into meditation or prayer and seeing the same exact vision.
Right.
And it's like, how are we both here in this world or this dimension, but we're both here? I mean, like, there was no explanation. And this is just as friends. So when we realized that we were going to be together, I guess, you know, we never expected that. We call each other brother and sister.
Still do.
Because, we still do sometimes. And I had this experience where, you know, I'm working my 8 to 6 job, and I'm in my office, and I get this, like, the room fills up with light, and I hear God speaking to me and shows me a picture of Michael and says, he's the one that you're going to walk with. And I just saw my whole life flash before my eyes.
Wow.
And how is this possible, you know? And I felt like, sorry, let me take a breath there.
Yeah, that's
it is just a tearjerker.
Was removed, and I had like this love just like pouring through me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Michael like more than I ever have, and now it's different. Like,
right.
And we made a pact that, you know, we weren't gonna
fall in love
or be together or whatever. And I'm like, oh no, I gotta tell him. And I don't know what this means. Are we still gonna be friends? And I call him up, and he's telling me the same thing, you know. And it's like, should I even be surprised at this point? And that point was just like this. I don't know. It was like there was already fire there, and someone went and took a blowtorch and just put it in the fire. And it was like, okay, here you go. So then we started having all these other different amazing experiences, and found out about the twin flame, and went through this, even though we were going through this time of like not being with friends or family. We had one another, and there was this intense amount of love that just grew and grew and grew. And the new friends and everyone else that we met, they were just so taken away with, like, what is this? I mean, you guys are supposed to be together.
Right.
Like, there's no question. And so, yeah, go ahead.
What a love story. I know. What a love story. That's incredible.
Oh,
Your question, though, is about, you know, how's it working out? And on a day-to-day basis, you realize the twin flame is really there to aid and to be almost the antagonist to our spiritual journey.
Show you yourself. Fire.
All those triggers that you have, you know, line them up and you push them one by one over and over and over until that stuff is dealt with.
It comes up to clear, and what a gift!
Yeah.
What a gift! Because then you truly are open. I mean, just that
it
strong.
often doesn't feel like a gift, though. It often doesn't feel.
Yeah.
A lot of people pine for their twin flames, and they can feel that, but they're not with them in this life because they're, for whatever reason, they've decided to do the journey alone. But I think what you said, a lot of people don't realize that when you get your twin flame together, it's not this bliss off the planet. It's some intense work. It's some intense work.
Yeah.
It's an agreement.
Yeah, there's definitely a fire there that's purifying, and you can easily fall out of that twin flame relationship. So we can, you know, even though we consider one another as twin flames, we can easily fall back into the 3D relationship, and it's not a twin flame anymore because a twin flame is not a person. It's actually it's an energy. It's a state of being.
It is spiritual.
And so when I'm completely centered within myself, and I'm here to, you know, go forward in my spiritual awakening, and Michael is in his center, that's where we meet, and we can have this amazing twin flame relationship. And it is challenging because, you know, like Michael's really good at pushing all my buttons and triggering me. And like, I have worked
He's doing thumbs up.
Much past. It's like, I wouldn't be able to do that with anybody else.
Right.
Well,
and he put up with it. So
okay, so explain to me, because we all hear soulmates, so on and so forth, and then there are twin flames. Tell me, what do you think the biggest difference is between the two of those? I mean, are you one spark that? I mean, did you come off of one spot? And what is? Tell me, I don't understand that part.
What was the first one you missed that you kind of cut in? Sorry, cut out.
What is the difference between twin flames and soulmates?
Soulmate. Oh yeah, and I can't remember his name. The guy that explained that. From Seattle.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, somebody had explained it. I can't remember who the spiritual teacher was, who had said that, you know, a soulmate is like somebody who is a buddy on a journey and almost like a soft shoulder. And, you know, let me also say, we have a lot of terms, and how we define those is based on your own you know, subjective point of view and what you've seen in the past and your own experience. So if I could just preface it with that. But from what I see, a soulmate is somebody who joins you on the journey. It's always a soft shoulder to cry on, somebody who loves you in your sorrow and pain. And there you go. There you go. You can look beside one another and see a soulmate. And then at the same time, this twin flame, this is how I see the difference, is that person who is almost an antagonist, who there can be a great deal of love, a profound amount of love, but it really pushes you, in fact, insists on you pursuing your inner source of peace at all times. And anytime you're not, you're called out on the carpet. On the carpet. Not even intentionally, because that's what they're trying to do. It's just that there's something within us that's demanding honesty and truth, right to the core, you know, because you both signed up for this journey to run flat out sprint toward spiritual enlightenment and spiritual truth. That's what I see the difference in.
Oh, I love that.
Well, you're both still smiling, so hopefully it's working.
Well, and I love that. I think that it is. No, go.
Oh, okay. It's even more special now that we're looking at this ascension, you know, at this time we're at right now. Because we did a little meditation beforehand, and I felt the Spirit say, you know, it's really unique to walk this entire path and literally walk into ascension, into the higher dimensions with your partner, with a partner, with anybody, you know, because it's very difficult to walk those journeys, you know, our marriages take decades often, and the changes that go through your lives in individual ways to get to that, to walk through that history often changes who we are and how we view life. At least if it's progressing, right? And if it does, I guess I see that that's just really a special thing to be able to continue that journey.
That is very unique. Thank you for doing it, guys.
So it's sort of a rocket booster strapped to your bum, and up you go. I mean,
the wedding band is a rocket booster. Your soulmate walking with you.
So okay, so you
about the ascension.
Start. Yes, and so and at some point I would love to post what you sent me, or you should post it somewhere because it's so beautiful, and. So we talk about this shift, and we talk about this move from the 3D and this energy coming in from the 3D up to the 4D to the 5D, and that's where we're going. And I have heard so many things from apocalyptic to, banking crashes to all fear-based, all, worthy of a lifetime show, and just tears and pain but what I got from you felt so authentic and so real and beautiful, and the overall feeling is this feeling of just smooth as silk, and of course nothing is, change is always bumpy and there's a little bit of fear, but what you're getting is much more in the flow of what I'm getting. So where do we start? It is, when did you start to see these things, the new earth, and how did that happen?
Yeah, Allison, so there was I have these things that come up at night, the downloads, and this is even back to my Christian years. But about 3 or 4 months ago, I woke up, and there's just been this, for Gina and I both, this increasing feeling, intense feeling of restlessness. Like, we're done with this. I'm just so tired of punching the time clock, or trying to make money and pay the bills and try to run as fast as you can just to survive and keep up with kids, all about that.
Yeah.
And so there's been this restlessness, and so I had woke up and I remembered Dolores Cannon, and I went and looked up some stuff and found Allison through that. And the QHHT was like, wow, that's something we need to do. We need to do that. And so,
and she's actually close to you. You found out she was actually close to you.
Yeah.
She's right there.
Yeah.
Amazing. But of course, QHHT practitioners all throughout the nation. But yeah, Allison is way up as far as I'm concerned in her abilities and in that technique. One of the very top that I've ever heard of. Anyway, so then as we had kind of researched this, I had really felt that there's something coming. There's some changes coming, and we felt this huge raise in our own vibrational resonance. And so I did a little bit of research, and I'm always on YouTube, and that's how a lot of us had met each other. And as I began hearing the whole thing about, this is a little bit of what's going on, and there's something coming. There's a resonance rising, and then this shift has been something that, if we take it all the way back to the Christian days, we'd all spoken about the rapture, the second coming of Jesus, and all of that. And for a long time, we'd always heard that was us, that we were the ones who were coming back as Christ consciousness, and these are the days, we're here, and there's just like you just said, Carrie, there's a lot of fear around this, and the closer I get with, let me go back. QHHT is a way that allows you to kind of let go of your egoic mind and consciousness and just put it in the back corner a little bit, and it just allows the source to come in this pure stream. You can ask whatever question you want, and the beautiful thing about it is that you do as much as you can to not have any impediments, anything that's blocking it, and the love that comes out of there is so pure and so unconditional. It's shocking and breathtaking every time that I see it, although I feel like I'm there all the time. So I went back to the Spirit and said, these scary stories are a little bit concerning, and so how can we look at it in a less fearful way? And that's where that one download, there's been a couple since then, that are really about, wow, this is just a movement of love, and I'm just drawing you back home. Drawing you back home, You've been gone so long, and I want you home. And I just can't wait, for these are the days that we've all been waiting for, literally since the beginning of humanity. For thousands and thousands and thousands of years, we've counted down to the days where you're now just walking up the sidewalk and you're literally walking home.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you get emotional. I mean, you can see the overwhelming I think it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And that's
tears of joy, really.
So what he sent us, and I feel so honored that you sent me that, because I think it was, I mean, as we've talked about it, it was just divine, the timing, because I didn't open it until I needed it. And then it was, I read it to Tiffany, and I was like, you can't believe what he said. But it is this, though, it's not general. You say, this is what this will look like, and this is what this will look like, and this is how we'll eat, and it's not this, we're going to live on light. It was more of a, you'll listen to your body, and I love, you said something to the effect of, I think so, like, you don't really work out because your body is what it's supposed to be, is something that you said. I just loved that part.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, we're usually exercising to build up some muscle or to lose weight, and kind of suck it in, and all of the things of the effects of aging in these 3D bodies is one of the things that's being let go of. We've outgrown those effects of aging, and as our bodies change into light bodies, they really age to the point that our prime spot, and I guess the thing about it is that from the perspective of spirituality, true beauty is true authenticity, without any makeup, without wearing your favorite clothes, without doing your hair and all that stuff. It's just true authenticity. From the spirit world, we're admired and loved when we wake up in the morning with morning breath.
Just completely who you are. Now, did everybody hear that? It is not about how we paint ourselves, which I'm the person dragging out 10 outfits to try to figure out how I feel that day. And so, I'm very much in that. Not all the time. I mean, it's I walk around a lot without makeup and my hair pulled back, but I think I love the way you say that, because that's the way you guys wake up. That's the way you and Jeff wake up. That's the way Charles and I wake up. It is just who we are.
Yeah.
And
who we are.
Yeah. And I'll say, hey, honey, do you think I should get this? He's like, no, don't touch a thing. I know every wrinkle on your face. I know all of it. It's like, yeah, but you said that when I was 25 and or older than that, but not much. And so
that was last year.
Yeah, whatever. Keep it coming. No, but so what have you been getting since then? I mean, do you have a time? Do you have this gentle movement? Because you were saying that you feel that we're already on the path, and how we.
No doubt.
So what do you see? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. I know that these waves of energy, and I don't know I haven't talked to you about this, Carrie, specifically, but there's these waves of energy that keep us up at most nights. And so I generally get up at 4 or 5 in the morning. I realize I'm just taking less and needing less sleep. And these are the beginnings of those changes. There's been a lot more that I've heard about. August is really a time where it's just the beginning of the turning that big knob of resonance, if you will. It's just beginning to turn up those waves. And those waves are reprogramming us in order to allow us to shed our 3D perspectives, our 3D lives. It's going to affect our bodies. It's going to affect how we parent. And it's just allowing us to shed that old paradigm because we're moving past it. We've literally evolved past it. And it's an individual decision. So I think another thing about that is that it has more to do with letting go than it has to do with something that's going to happen to us on the outside. I realize that we want to make a big story about the events that are going to happen and what it's going to look like and what things are going to happen to us. But the Spirit said, hey, don't miss the story inside of you. That's the big headline story, is what is happening within you. As you begin looking at your food with the most amount of gratefulness that this plant lived and died for my sustenance, I look at it now with love and gratitude, and I care about the trees as I drive past them. I say hi to the grass as I'm walking past. I realize that I care about things in a different way. And that's the story. That's actually what's changing. And as it changes, that changes in the fifth dimensional thinking. And literally your body, first in the spiritual, then in the natural. So it's within, it becomes without. And it actually changes the world that we live within. And so as I felt the Spirit say that through the month of August and actually through the end of the year, it might take, I guess I don't want to, I realize the Spirit doesn't work on a calendar, right? We're always the ones that are in control of that. But that we're able to just let go. It really has to do with how fast we can let go of the world that we live within and the fears that hold us here. And then we'll begin to find ourselves in fifth dimensional thinking. And it might actually, different aspects of our life might change quicker than other aspects. Economics and financial stuff is a big piece of this to me. And I realized that the Spirit said, finances and stuff just become irrelevant to you after a while. They're not needed, and they're not really a part of your life because you've just outgrown it. And, how that works down nitty-gritty is a little bit still confusing to me, but I know that that's true.
Well, it is, because it's it's a huge issue for so many people, just putting bread on the table, paying the rent every month. It's a big deal. Like, how do I blow that off?
Right.
How does it not become important? So it'd be interesting to see how to let the importance of that go internally, maybe, and then I don't know if it means abundance comes or the resources show up when you need them and you don't worry about it as much.
I think as we change into light bodies, this is one of the things they're showing me, as we change into light bodies, we need less of the things that money buys.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The food that we eat, the houses and the clothes we buy and all the shelter and all the stuff we go through to maintain this 3D body is less important, as we move into light bodies. And so I guess that's what I really felt that is going to be the key to that. That step is going to be, it just becomes irrelevant anymore.
Gosh, it's going to be a whole new human paradigm, isn't it? It's just going to be different than how we've traditionally handled it. So just go with it.
Well, I see that there are, like, I keep hearing about these kids that are, I say the kids, they're 25, the younger generation that are out on their own, that they do need, like, they're not they don't buy cars. They want small houses, tiny houses, or they want apartments. They don't want the trappings. And even my husband says, golly, some of these, these attorneys, the young ones, where his group, you'd come in, you wanted to get there before your boss, leave after your boss. And these guys are like, hey man, it's 5. I have a golf game. I have I have friends I have to meet. And it's more about life. And so to see that shift, and it's not that I don't know, they just seem to be intrigued by different things. So I do sort of see that coming. It's not about the pension and the kids.
Well, they catch a lot of flack about that, though, because it feels like they're lazy, they're not motivated, they're not buying into the system and putting in the hard work. So it's interesting to look at it from a different angle, as maybe they're more enlightened and they're not buying into the same old system and finding happiness on the golf course.
Or ultimate
who knows?
Frisbee.
It's just interesting to start having these conversations about what this means to you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think for... Oh,
no, go. I'm sorry. I'd rather hear you talk.
Oh, I think they're kind of allowing us to look at life in a different way, because we've been stuck in these old paradigms for quite a long time, and we have all these systems set up to train us and prepare us. So the educational system is setting us up and preparing us for the normal 9-to-5 work week, and being submissive to the bosses and all these things, and it's they're having to deny so much of what they're feeling. And so now this younger generation is like, no, this isn't working for me. I'm going to do this instead. No matter how much you try to shove this down my throat, I'm not going to eat it, And so it's really interesting to see that happening. And I know, like, for us, we have quite a few younger people in our lives that are expressing some of these things to us, and it's really allowing us to see and question and even letting us let go. Like, oh yeah, we don't really need to work like that. It's or be so rigid in our schedules and things like that.
Yeah.
So I was raised in a household that, number one, my parents were very young, and so I think it was from where they were raised, and it was this, God damn it, because I said so. When I ask you to do something, you just ask how high. And I really, it trained me not to think. I was used to being told where I needed to go, what I needed to do, and then skip ahead, and I have my kids and my husband, and everything. If they do something wrong, that's just, we can teach. This is just teaching, and we need to teach them how to think and how to make good decisions. And it drove my family crazy, and my dad constantly still, you just need to spank them. Just spank them. Well, I tried it once because that's the way I was raised. It didn't work. My little itty bitty tiny thing looked at me and kind of like, is that all you have? So that's when I realized I would have to probably beat him, and which is not okay. And so I just learned, we learned to do different things, like take him downtown to the police department, scared him to death. And it just is, these kids, they're just different. And I kept seeing that, and I thought, is it just different from the way I was raised? Or are they come in with rights? Like they are, and even with my niece Catherine is one of my humans. She is very much my human, and she'll be 21 next month. And I don't feel older than her. I just feel like I'm along the train track. I'm here and she's here. I learn from her all the time. And I think kids are the same way. They're just, but they come in with this, I have a right to express myself, Mom. And they're right, they do. Where if you think back, kids were to be seen and not heard. That is what I grew up hearing. And I think it was more my dad's generation that it was that way. Or maybe it was just us, I don't know. But it was, there were good kids and bad kids. And I still fight that struggle between how I was raised and with my own kids. Unfortunately, my husband wins out, and he's, infinitely wonderful at that. But, so that is, I love hearing that. So, okay, so what happens with the people that necessarily, maybe they get stuck in the fear, or they're really in the paradigm of the 3D?
Right. Well, those are great questions. And I guess what I felt is that, everybody's going to move at their own pace. But ultimately, there's no one that can be left behind. There's not a piece of God, because we're all at least a piece of that diamond, a little shard of divinity within us, and nobody can ever be left. All the way from Hitler to Jesus, every single soul will be brought home. And so I think that's one thing to really say strongly, because the old Christian perspective of the rapture would be left behind a lot of people, and it put in this huge amount of fear, and it's not like that. There's no way that God and love can leave behind love. So yeah, you're right. That there'll be some that will move much more rapid than others, and I guess I realize that we all have lessons to learn, and some of us who've been letting things go for years might have a little bit less to let go of. But there's something within me that doesn't allow me to just say, okay, hey guys, I'm out of here, see ya. because there's this love within my own heart that I feel from the divinity that I'm actually here as light workers. I'm sure you all are. We're here for our brothers and sisters. That's why we incarnated. We're here literally to assist in this ascension. That's why we were born here.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I can't just jet, I'm just gone. So I'm here to help. So I have a feeling that we're going to be around to help and assist much longer than just being able to send and leave.
I love that.
That's so
Thank you.
Kuan Yin. That is so Kuan Yin. Yeah.
And I understand you guys are starting to put out videos. You've started a Facebook group, right? Twin Flame Heart. Twin Flame Heart is your Facebook page where people connect, and you're going to be putting out videos, hopefully, of these messages as you get them. Because every night you're getting up in the middle of the night, you're needing that less sleep, and you're writing and downloading and
not every night.
Not every night. Okay. Well, I would love to see these. I would love to tune in. I know you're just getting started with this, and we're encouraging you that we all need these constant reminders, because we forget. We get in our 3D bodies and we forget all of and buy into the fear of all the things that are going on around us in the media and the news. So it's wonderful to have alternative messages of love and peace and hope, and that you can go through difficult times together. You can find your tribe. You can find your soulmate, your twin flame. And so we encourage you. So Twin Flame Heart on Facebook is where we will hopefully find your Gina and Michael Kerr videos.
Kerr. And yes, and definitely reach out to them, because I think that, and hook in, because what you wrote, I mean, again, that needs to be somewhere public. And it may already be, but it is not just sitting in my inbox, because I'm desperate to share it, but it's not mine to share. So it is.
I will post it. Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah, we really want to encourage individuals to just look within their hearts, and know that they're supported. They're not alone. That was a huge thing that we struggled with. We felt like we were alone, and sometimes we do have to go through those periods, but we experienced a lot of supernatural things, and even our relationships and how we let go of things. So yeah, we just want to be here to support and explore, and ascend together, awaken together, and so that's what we kind of feel like our purpose is right now. Be connected with our spiritual family in that sense.
I love that. And now, is your family circling back? Is your family back on board, or are they
your parents?
Your
nucleus.
Yeah, because at least I'd say they have a good relationship, a strong relationship with my family that raised me. And that's really important to me. I realize we still have a lot to resonate about. We're still in the Christian tradition, and that's totally fine. I realize that as I walk my journey, it's okay for me to look across and see somebody else walking their journey. Exactly. And I celebrate it just as much as I ever have. It's their journey. And so I'm going to celebrate it, and I hope that they can do the same and empathize with us in our journey. Celebrate it.
That's wonderful. And you guys have kiddos too, right?
Yeah.
She's a metaphysical mom.
We have a 4-year-old son and a 6-year-old girl.
Oh,
I got to meet them last night. They're beautiful. They are gorgeous.
They're pretty amazing. I mean, they're really teaching us a lot about letting go.
That's right. That's right.
And kind of a new style of parenting that we have no idea what it looks like, and it's amazing. Yeah.
Metaphysical parent.
They keep us busy right now.
Well, I'd love to see videos on that, because you said that parenting in the new earth, it looks different. And, your firsthand experiences. We have a ton of kids between us, and I'd love to hear your insight and advice. I speak to my parents in spirit, and I get the best advice, parenting from heaven, about, how to not sweat the small stuff,
Right.
And focus on what's really important.
Tiffany, you are their hero right now. Do you know that? I just connected with them real quick. They just adore you and love you.
Oh,
and they
you made me cry.
They're just clapping for you and applauding you from the side of the road and the side of your journey.
Chills.
Chills. Well, I learned from them. Totally. Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I do want to go back to ask, because you said you first started hearing this voice saying, well, if you want to talk to me. I'll just guide you right away, personally, myself.
Oh, yeah.
Because
yeah,
that
that's
is
just amazing.
Conversations
Right.
with God was one of my first spiritual teaching books, and it just felt so true to me. So that sounds very familiar. He wrote an angry letter to God, but it sounds like you were asking a lot of questions and got your own answers too.
Yeah, it's there. It really is totally there. It just has to do with getting yourself out of the way. And I realized the love and the affirmation from the other side it's never anything to fear. Our perspectives, my perspective anyway, in the Christian journey was that there was just a lot of fear, and I hoped that I was good enough to make it into heaven. And man, I shed that. Took some time though to shed that and realize that not only does God have my back and my arms and every piece of who I am literally the personification of God.
Yeah.
And how can God turn his back on itself? It's just not possible. There's no way to ignore, itself. It's just love. It's all love in a beautiful way.
Well, I think too that it was very much a need at one point, and I think that having the boundaries and the framework, but I think that so many frameworks are starting to kind of fall apart, whether it's our education or government. A lot of stuff's happening there. A lot of stuff is happening, and it seems like a lot of these, what would you call them? These paradigms are shifting.
Old paradigms, yeah.
Yeah, or they're just falling apart. I mean, and I see it with the schools. I really do see it with our schools, and it kind of has to, because so many of the kids have changed, and so they have to change with it, or we just lose half of our kids. Mm-hmm. So it is.
Education is a big thing that's going to change in the 5D for sure.
Isn't that wonderful?
So we only have a couple minutes left. I feel like we could talk to you guys all day.
Oh, well, you have to come back. I mean, we'll have to do check-ins.
Joy Tribe family now.
Yay!
Yay! But we really are excited to see the videos that your guys are going to put out, whether it's posts or videos. We're just encouraging you to just get out there and get the word out. You said you felt very strongly that you've been told to get this message out more. And we're saying yes, we would love that.
Yay!
Thank you for the encouragement and support. Yeah, it's a new skill to learn, the whole Facebook and YouTube thing. So thanks for your patience.
Well, now that
we'll figure it out and get it on there.
Well, now that you have a little phone on your camera, you just set it up, talk for 15, 20 minutes, post it on YouTube, and you're done. It doesn't need fancy editing, or don't even worry about all that. Just get the messages of love, and because a lot of people are really interested in this new earth and the ascension and how to embody that, how to walk that walk, like you said, that personal journey, those personal decisions on a day-by-day basis, how to do that.
Yeah.
Well, and you do it with such a lack of fear that I think that is what we need. We need just this. This is what it is, and this is how it looks, and it's okay. I mean, it is. I latch on to you. I mean, that what you're saying, your version is very much part of mine.
It feels like truth. It really does.
No, it does. It really, really does.
So if we get to create our vision, I want it to look like that. I want it to look where we are lighter bodies, we are more loving, we're just
connected,
more accepting and connected, and we have our own guidance to be you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, so we'll post everything, and we'll post your links, and we will keep folks updated through our side as you do things, and we really want people to be able to find you and to reach out to you. So I just honor your path and your courage and your.
And you guys as well. We're so privileged
to
be able to.
Thank you
Thank you
for sharing your story. I know that was a tough thing to go through, but here you are.
Here you are.
Yay!
Moving on to the next step.
Well, guys, this is it. We're gonna love you and leave you. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Much love.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Guys, thanks for
tuning
in.
And tuning in on Facebook. We appreciate all of your messages, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Bye, guys.